Do you have a cat too?
Hey, maybe we should travel. Maybe we should take the bus. But not
I'm
the
gonna have to
bus.
stop you right there with that segue.
Okay. Like a bus
Welcome
stop?
to Higurashi When They Podcast.
Like a bus stop me in that segue?
That
Hello.
was my joke. That was my fuck.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome to Higurashi When They Podcast, the podcast all about Higurashi When They Cry.
Yes.
We finally made it to the end, but we're gonna take a detour,
Take a stop, if you will.
if you will, and we're gonna talk about what started this whole damn thing.
Yep.
I know Kirby fan is ready to talk the real life stuff. So let's first do our introductions. I am the Wash.
I'm random bystander. Wait, I'm random bus stander here.
Hey.
Because of the rain.
Because of the rain.
Because of the rain. If that was the actual ending of the play, that could have been something, but then it just kept going.
Yep. So we are going to watch Ryuki. We are going to talk about Ryukichi's Dead Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the equivalent to Dead Right, potentially even like, depending on how you want to look at it, maybe even like Little White Lie if you want to think of it like that.
Well, I would if we saw it, but
well, yeah, that's true.
didn't.
That's fair. Wally B.
But for reference to people who don't watch the Edgar Wright podcast that we did, Dead Right was one of Edgar Wright's early feature films. Well, not feature films. It wasn't full length.
It was a student film.
Student film, sure.
Yeah, Dead Right could have been longer.
Yeah, maybe it should have been longer. Maybe he could have made it a play. Imagine that. Imagine if he just
That's all the rage I
like
see.
That.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's this one it's presented in a sound novel format, but it is dripping with theater. So I guess here's how we're going to do this. How do we want to start? Do we either want to start by talking about Hinamizawa Bus Stop, the stage play, or do we want to talk about Hinamizawa Bus Stop, the precursor to Higurashi?
Trouble is that it's kind of impossible for us to. It's hard for us to talk about this standalone, considering that we have gone through the entire thing. I guess we can try to talk about it standalone. It's just that there's gonna be so much stuff where it's just like in the game, where especially the ending.
There's a lot that is very similar, but also very different.
Yeah.
But if we're going to start by talking about the stage play, then allow me to set the stage. The year is 1997. That's right, we're in the 90s. And a certain somebody who would become a very popular sound novel creator, Ryukishi as we know him, is working an ordinary job. And as I have said in the past, something that he really wanted to do was make a game, but he didn't really have the life experience for it. However, there were other ventures that he did, including being, I believe he was actually kind of part of a theater troupe, never really performed, but he was associated with it. And he's working his job and he's just kind of thinking, I don't want to keep doing this the way that my life is going right now. I just feel like, I'm on a path that, not a very happy path that everybody else in this country is going down. I kind of want to try to start making my mark, so to speak. I did not mean for that to come out like a dinosaur. That's just how it went. And
sure.
he had a few different ideas. It was around this time that he rejoined his freelance group to work on the card game. I was talking about that during the first episode. And because he was part of the theater troupe, he had decided that he wanted to try writing some screenplays. He actually wound up writing quite a few. And he had the actors and stuff. That of course makes sense. But, this is still stuff you got to submit and get it approved. It's not like, his theater troupe is a group of people that can just, hey, I have the thing, here we go. You still got to submit it. You have the actors, but you got to submit it. You got to get it approved, blah, blah, blah. And none of his stuff wound up getting approved. They all got rejected. But it was around, I don't know how many had got rejected, but his brother at some point, with the release of Tsukihime, which Nathan was talking about last time, his brother was saying, oh, hey, this engine that they used for Tsukihime is super easy to work with. How about, because they had both been big fans of video games, and specifically novels as presented in video games, let's try making a novel. And he was on board with that. Again, he had a big inspiration, and they didn't know where to start. So what his brother had suggested, again, around from the very beginning, was there's this one screenplay of yours that I think would be, we could do a lot with it. Let's adapt Hinamizawa Bus Stop, and the rest is history.
Now, Kirby fan, I hate to drop this, but I actually happen to know a playwright myself.
Yeah, wow, me too. What a coinky dink.
Yeah, in fact, I feel like this would be a good time. Like this, I know this is for the moment. This is a good time for me to actually call that playwright, and maybe we can get them on the podcast. So,
yeah. I was thinking that too, but I didn't know. But if you're down for it, I'm game too.
Yeah. Let me say. Okay, dialing.
Hey, why's my phone ringing? Hello?
Buddy!
Hey,
what's up?
pal.
Hi, how you doing? I'm kind of recording a podcast right now. What's up?
Yeah, we're doing our own podcast right now, and we were talking about a stage play, and you used to write some stage plays, right?
I did used to write some stage plays.
Do you want to talk about the entirety of Higurashi?
What?
Before you start reading Hinamizawa Bus Stop?
Of course not. Click.
I mean, this is why I didn't want to call, but...
And scene.
Oh, God. As a writer, oh, my God. Yeah, honestly, one of the Kirby brought this up as, like, an optional thing to do. And as when she first brought up this, like, podcast series, and this was the one I wanted to do from the beginning. Because I've written plays before. I know the play structure. I had no idea it was going to be in a visual novel format, but still, it looked like it seemed very interesting. And to see, especially now, oh my God, after going through the story now and just seeing where it all began as a play and just seeing the theater motifs and what it could possibly come from them. It was something I was been looking for since the beginning. And I have written a few plays. I won't say mine because they contain my actual name. I won't say which ones. But I've written a few plays. I've written some good ones. I've written some that have been performed. I've written some that I will never see the light of day. And
have you had some that have gotten rejected in the past?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Of course. Absolutely. That's like a requirement. I hate to say it, but like rejection makes you a better writer. I remember there was this whole this whole website which just had an opportunity of plays to submit to different like states and stuff that I would spend hours on just sending plays to. Out of like maybe I must have sent at least 50 competitions, maybe like 2 said yes. Writing is very competitive.
I mean, think of it like this. That's 2 more than what Ryukishi has.
And honestly,
well, actually, quick extra bit of research, because I don't know what drove me to do like actual research for this, but I finished and I was like, I have to know more. In 2012, this is when I read Hinamizawa Bus Stop for the first time. In 2012, or no, not well, okay, it was 2012, but it was released over here like much later. Higurashi had turned 10 years old, and to celebrate, he had released, or maybe it was 15. I don't know. I'm hazy on the details, but he had released a new bundle of stories for Higurashi. One of them was like the spin-off idea that he had if like Hinamizawa had a breakout of the syndrome, and then the other one included was a follow-up. And those two, well, whatever, they don't matter. But the other one that he released was Hinamizawa Bus Stop. And to celebrate Higurashi having its anniversary and being so huge, and this is so funny to me, the summer of that year, Hinamizawa Bus Stop was performed on stage.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow. You know what? Never give up. Because one day it just might happen.
All you have to do is adapt your stage play into a much beloved sound novel, and then
you know what? Some stories are better told in different mediums. And
I was gonna ask about that. What is as a playwright, what is your opinion on Hinamizawa Bus Stop as a stage play?
Let me just say, is there something up with the translation? Because, like, it's just, the dialogue feels awkward.
Okay, so I'm sure this is something that you've noticed just by reading Higurashi. Forget everything else. Translating Ryukishi works is not easy.
No.
Now, let me follow that up by saying, and it pains me to say this, the translation that we read is by far the best translation of Hinamizawa Bus Stop that's out there.
Oh, no.
When it first came out and the translation, because everybody wanted to read it, the only translation that was available for years was from like a Google bot.
Oh no.
It was machine translated. That is all we had for years. You would be lucky if the sentences actually fit together. You had to piece things together so much.
That was a mystery in itself.
This is frightening me.
Yeah, pretty much. So the dialogue being that clunky, this is a much better translation, but it's still not great. I wouldn't even call it preferable, honestly. It's just the best that we have.
Yeah.
Most of it, I am going to blame on the fact that we don't have a very good translation of it.
Yeah.
Mostly because, like, I mean, even Higurashi 1, when the guy wasn't a very, like, experienced writer, his dialogue flowed much better than what the translation gave us.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pin most of this on the translation. I mean, most of it, it's not perfect. Yeah. But I'm going to pin most of it on the translation.
Yeah, that's my thing, because, like, the dialogue just felt weird at points. Because I was, when I was reading it, I was trying to picture, I do it with all the plays I read. I picture it in my head performed. I don't picture it as, like, with the other Higurashis, it was a book, so I treated it as such. But this one, I pictured, what would it be like if I saw this on stage as it was? Or is it a closet drama? Which basically means it's a play that was meant to be read and not performed. And I don't think this was the case. With that.
No, I don't think so either. This definitely has the feeling that, like, it's got stage directions. It has like lights out and talking. It even talks about like how certain characters would be playing other characters, like during which one was it? Arakawa during his like flashback. There would be other characters that would be playing as his his bullies in school.
Yeah.
So it definitely feels like that, like this was specifically designed with the play in mind, and also keeping in mind like the limited cast that they probably had.
Oh my god, I could imagine. It's so hard getting actors.
This isn't quite as efficient, I guess, as something like Trail to Oregon, but I was until like the very end when they just introduced like 5 new characters. I was very impressed by how much was done with such a limited selection of characters, ergo meaning selection of actors.
Yup.
Yeah.
There's a reason there's a small cast in a lot of very successful shows. and there's a lot of scenes where it's just 2 or 3 people. It tightens the story, and you don't need that much actors. So
what else? I'm really interested in hearing this.
Depending on how you like write it, you could strip the cast down even further because
my god, yeah.
I think there's only like 5 people on stage at a time. Like you could, if you get really economical and like get really crafty with costuming, you could possibly pull it off.
It would be tough. I'd say I think there's a max of 7 people, honestly.
I think you could do less, but only if you hire Joey Richter.
Yes.
The ensemble, of course.
If who would Joey Richter be?
Oh, that's right. We had that as a prompt, and I forgot to actually like. We were talking beforehand, like let's try to cast each of these characters to star kid actors. Oops.
It's all right. I know.
But yeah, no. I want to hear more from a playwright's perspective.
I'm not that. By the way, I'm not an expert. I've written a few plays. They've been performed. I'm lucky, but honestly, after pandemic,
Ryukishi wasn't an expert either. Ryukishi wasn't an expert either. Don't worry.
But honestly, not even after the pandemic. Once I went back to college, I put my writing pen down for a while, and and so like my writing is a little shaky now. But just see, I've been around like stage plays, and I've seen the process at work because I've seen other plays, the original plays that were written and performed, it's interesting because you do have the cues like lights up, lights down. I like how you notice how, like, for example, the scene with like a transition from Arakawa getting like bullied. It's played by the other actors, and you have the original sprites like playing the bullies. That could only be pulled off in the theater, because otherwise, if it was pulled off in like a movie or visual or even visual novel, it would be weird. And if a visual novel, it kind of was weird, but like knowing how theater is in mind, it was fine for me because that's totally fine because actors can be experimental like this. I feel like this would be was a very experimental themed play.
I would come out if I were an audience for this. Like Random brought me to this, like he brings me to so many of his other plays. If I would have come out of it being like, that was alright. The ending was kind of weird.
Yeah, so interesting thing about Japanese theater. I don't know if this is something that I like or not. This was the intent with Hinamizawa Bus Stop, and I thought it was like, oh, that's actually super unique, and then I found out this is just a thing that a lot of like more mystery-leaning Japanese theater do. When the play ends, the actors actually, you know how there's like the final curtain call, the bow, and then the curtains close? Yeah. It's something similar to those lines. I don't know if the actors do their bow or if there's a curtain call, but for mysteries, the actors actually come out and they discuss the play with each other and kind of go along some potential thought processes and like kind of try to piece everything together.
So is that what the bonuses are?
Is that what the bonus episodes?
Bonus episodes?
No, the bonus episodes in Higurashi. Is that what they're based on?
Bonus chapters.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Bus Stop. I'm like, when was that a thing? I'm leaning towards no. I just think that was a fun thing because, happy fun. We want to have happy fun after everyone dies.
I mean, that makes sense.
I mean, it could be. Like, it totally could be, but I think they're a little too goofy. It's not like they're actually... I mean, there's kind of a discussion being had, but for the most part, it's just the characters being over the top silly.
Yeah, that doesn't happen in a theater over here. The closest I've experienced to that was Table when reading. I was in... Yeah, even so, or even like stage readings where it's just like, hey, we finished the play. Now we're gonna have a Q&A with the playwriting cast. How can we play? How? What do you think? What are your thoughts on the play? What can be improved? Stuff like that. It's more just like a critique of the piece and discussion of the piece, rather than. And it's not like funny at all. It's more like it's like a serious quote unquote discussion.
I was in that Q&A too.
Yup. I dragged you to that. Good times.
Good memories.
Yeah. And so, like, I kind of wish I could see this performed.
I bet this was performed at like an anime convention.
Oh, without a doubt.
Oh, I'm sure it's happened. None that I've been to. I wish. Oh my god, I would pay so much money to see this performed just so that I can see it, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
I just really hope it was localized better because they really shouldn't be having like a high schooler saying, "Then to die laughing will become my long cherished ambition."
Yeah.
Not very good.
This really needs a better translation.
It really does. That's the only thing. It's like, I want to see this. I wish I could just learn Japanese and just learn it for like a day. Watch this performance. That's it. And I could take.
I'm pretty sure it's not out yet. But after, they're currently working on localizing the ones that were with Higurashi 9, which we've already read. They're working on that. I think when they're done, they are working on the bundle that has Hinamizawa bus stop. So, distant future, we might get it.
I'm all right with that. But yeah, as
anything else, or do we want to start talking about the play proper?
I'm just trying to think if there's anything else.
I'm sure there will be something as we go along.
Yeah,
because there's a lot covered in here.
I like the specific use of lighting. Like the lighting. Lighting is so goddamn important with stage plays, especially when it's like not like Broadway, and it's more like it's more important Broadway too. But when it's like, I'm talking like amateur theater, like
which is what this would have been,
without a doubt.
This had 2 props total, and one of them is a bench.
Yeah, so minimalistic. So good. Honestly,
and that is very TTO to me. How much they're able to get away with so few props.
Yeah, if you want like big elaborate set pieces, go to Broadway. This ain't Broadway. If you want like raw theater, like 2 benches,
the bench and the umbrella, those are the props, right? Just those.
Yeah,
two?
pretty much. And you can use like it's where the set is there when it needs to be, but it's where the actors can shine and the script can shine. It's not about like, ooh, look at Aladdin and Disney on Broadway and look at the puppets that look like animals in The Lion King. It's about the theater. You get the real raw theater energy, and that's it's like a different level of theater that I see with this. If that makes any sense.
I get that.
Or at least I would see with it if the translation wasn't shit.
Yeah.
Especially and I mentioned it before, but like the lack of lighting, the placement of like it would be called fade to black. Oh, wait, what's the actual term for it?
Fade to black.
Oh, okay, I guess it was fade to black. That's a screenplay term too. But and I can't remember what it was specifically, but it like goes dark or something like that. And there's like in very specific emotional points. Like sometimes it transitions, and sometimes as like a real like scare factor. Like when the lights go out and then somebody goes, oh my god, there's a dead body. Who did this? It has to be somebody at this bus stop.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about the plot now?
Let's talk it.
Yeah, super quick plot synopsis. So 2 high school girls, Mion Sonozaki and Rika Furtade, decide to skip class. They are stuck at the bus stop because it is raining. And as they are waiting there, 2 construction workers show up, and they are talking about a dam project at Hinamizawa, and
Rika does not take kindly.
Would that be it? Yeah. The villagers, those being Mion and Rika, don't take very lightly to it, don't very kindly to it. So there's a bit of tension, but everything is generally okay. But things start to get a little bit weird as the play progresses. It's a little odd, but we learn more about it as we go along.
Yeah.
Almost like a certain sound novel we've just read.
Yep.
Almost.
But you know what's different from a sound novel we just read?
Everything?
Rika's age, first off.
Yeah, the one thing I wanted to make sure that the two of you knew before we jumped into this were that Mion and Rika were the same age.
Yeah.
If you don't know that, and I'm just gonna say it straight up, like they are gay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So if you know Higurashi and there's like approximately 11-year-old Rika and 17-year-old Mion being gay with each other, that sounds awful.
Yes.
But they're the same age. This is before Higurashi came out. They're both like 16 years old, like Keiichi and Rena age. So it's very different.
Yeah, and in fact, we read the PC version.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
and it's because we were talking about this with Nathan, our guest in the previous episode, and he found out the other version of this book that has
the PS. I want to say this was PS3 or Switch, one of the two.
God, if it's a Switch, the CG for that game, they actually like, because the one we watched is just like the colored sprites. It's hard to describe in one word. But
it's very Ryukishi. That's how I would describe it.
Yeah. But the CG version of it, they're horny.
So this isn't even a defense. This is literally just like my immediate thoughts. Because that's the console version. That's not Ryukishi's call.
Yeah.
So I'm literally just saying like, frick the console version. I still stand Ryukishi. But so two things I do have to give I never read the console version just because of stuff like that. But two things I have to give. One, Yuri, which is girl's love. Another way that it could be translated as, or read as, because Japanese is weird, is Lily. And when the CGs for Mion and Rika, there's a few of them where like there are a bunch of lilies in the background, so it's like real subtle there. But more importantly, because they're actually like drawn backgrounds, they include not so much like, well, they're technically Easter eggs, but they mention in the play that there are posters opposing the dam.
Yeah.
And what they did was that, because I think they mentioned that there are little like mascots on there. I don't remember if they do or not. But the mascots that are shown in the PS2 version, it's not Ryukishi that drew these. It's somebody else imitating Ryukishi's style. It's Rena and Satoko. And I was like, that's cute, actually.
that's really nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's like the one thing I can give the PS2, the console. It's like, I like that.
Yeah.
I actually like that a lot.
From what little I saw of the CG, like, because in the version that we saw, Yoshimura was played by a Tomitake sprite. But from the CG I saw, that same character was played by Keiichi, or somebody that looked a lot like Keiichi.
Looked like Keiichi. The console ones are all unique. They're not taken from Ryukishi characters.
Right, yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, all the characters in this one were silhouettes of other characters.
Yeah, the silhouettes with like gradients over their faces, and like the only thing, you can't see their eyes, but you can't see their mouth. And it's only for folks like us who read through every single one of these, the way we'd call out, oh, that's Oishi, that's Akasaka, that's Kasai, that's Ire, that's Okonogi, etc.
Okonogi without the ponytail.
Oh my god, it is.
The Kasai one threw me off because I wasn't 100% sure, and for a little bit I thought that was Okonogi, but then I remember those tiny bits of hair in the back.
Oh, you know which one I loved? And this is like the one thing where it's like, okay, like specifically as a sound novel, like you can't do this in theater, but for the sound novel, super cool. That like frame where we see Hanyu.
Yup.
Yeah, I noticed
I
that.
was like, damn.
That's it. That's and it's like it's Hanyu, and then immediately after it's a close-up photo of like teeth.
Yeah. Otherwise, but ignoring that creepy console version, just sticking with what we have here. We'll get into Higurashi proper comparing, because there's so much to say about what made it into Higurashi and what didn't. But it's putting Higurashi to the side, just looking at Hinamizawa bus stop. I guess we'll start with Mion and Rika, just because they're obviously like the main two. Excuse me. What did we think of Mion and Rika?
They're gay.
They're very gay.
They're very from the get-go too.
Mion is like crazy. Rika is like a normal level of gay. Mion is like
Whoa.
wow, so gay.
Like, cool your jets, girl. You'll get yours.
Like, she gets her hand shaken and she's like, my life is fulfilled. It's complete.
I'll never wash this hand again. That wasn't a line in the show, but it should have been.
It should have been, pretty much.
It's very gay. Aside from being very gay, it took a long while for me to like dump out how I know these characters now, because they're nothing like.
Oh yeah, nothing.
I could. There's a tiny bit of similarity with like Rika being very serious and Mion being very like silly and goofy, but aside from that, like it opens with like Mion like cackling, and it was just like, what the fuck? I don't get what's going on. And it's talking about me and my unique personality, which is another thing that's like. I feel like even if it's translated, I don't know how well that would sound.
Some of the stuff did seem awkward to like.
It is unique. It is unique, I guess.
Like some of the, it was awkward to read at some points.
Yeah, it's. I mean, again, partially translation, but also like definitely, I like reading some theater can sound very awkward even with a good translation.
Yeah, because it's not meant to be read; it's meant to be spoken.
And this is another way where it's like I really should have had it dumped out, but like when Arakawa comes by and Mion, I forget what it was, but like it's just all of a sudden like Rika just seemed to turn really friendly to Arakawa, and I was wondering like, is this like gonna be the setup for Akasaka and like Mion go crush on him? But it's not really. It was just that, like, because, like, she said straight away, Arakawa-san, what are your hobbies and occupation? And I was like, oh, that's pretty forward of you. Okay, I see. But no, just like the translation is just kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really hope that they're working on a better translation for it, just because. I've read it a couple times, so I can piece everything together fine, but especially, like, you two who read it for I mean, I'm glad you didn't have to use the machine-translated one, trust me, but this is still far from ideal.
I cannot wait for a girl to go up to me and ask me that great pickup line, what are your hobbies and or occupations?
And occupation.
And then when you tell her, she's just like, you're trying to sink my village.
Yes, that is my hobby and occupation.
Like this character, like Rika was just so fucking intense, and it just doesn't help that it's just like like what Rika eventually becomes. It just makes her harder to read.
Well, okay. Do you mean hard to read, like literally, like her dialogue,
yes.
or just like her personality?
Personality,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially like the ending, which I guess we'll just have to save for a bit. And Mion, there did not seem to be much more to her. This threw me off when she said, like, my family is poor. It's like, wow.
Yes! Oh my god!
The glow up.
Yeah.
Gone from, like, the like, part of the poor family to the most powerful family in the village.
Damn.
Yeah, good for her, her.
Yeah, she's gone up in the world. Meanwhile, Rika got younger.
Got younger and stuck in a time loop. Sucks to be her.
Yeah,
that's what
you get for screwing your friend over like that.
Yeah.
Was this his first ever play? Because it doesn't seem. There's points where
this was not his first play. He had tried to write a couple. I don't know how many, but a couple before he had reached Hinamizawa bus stop. This was, however, not the first. I mean, Hinamizawa bus stop as a whole is the first draft of Higurashi. This, draft-wise, he wrote it and he showed it to his group of theater friends, and they kind of picked it apart. So this isn't like a first draft, but this is far from a final draft.
Yeah, I could tell. I mean, everything seemed fine until the ending.
I mean,
but...
like, genuinely, yeah, I was just gonna say, aside from some dialogue, which it could be translation or it could legitimately just be like one more draft and it's fine. The ending.
Yeah, that's
is when it's just like,
what? And not only that, but like Tonogawa Oyashi, he just disappears.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We need to get to them first, I guess.
Well, yeah, I guess let's talk about them, because, I mean, there's most of what I would have to say about Mion and Rika are just, they're gay. That's really all.
Because there's not much to infer so far from the personalities until the very end. And it's just like,
you know what it is? Higurashi is more about the characters. Bus Stop is more about the story.
The mystery, I would say that, yeah.
And the characters kind of take a back seat.
Yeah.
I do think because I mean, I can kind of agree that the characters are generally whatever, especially removed from Higurashi. I kind of prefer, like, I don't prefer the mystery, but I like this mystery at face value more than I like Higurashi's, I guess. Like, I mean, we could talk about it just, like, again, separated from Higurashi. The existence of Oyashi and Osama and what it does to the people in Hinamizawa, I actually kind of like it.
The curse is completely different.
It's totally different.
And it's also just kind of seems simpler. Like it's often just as simple as like, don't leave and don't be an outsider. And something about like, don't pollute, but then that turned out to be not really the case.
I think what I liked a lot about it was that, I mean, we get, like I said, there's like that short while, which I would, hope that the theater would be able to kind of replicate. It's just, you're in a bad state of mind, and when you're in that bad state of mind, this god, which is actually a being that exists, it's not like Hanyu where, oh, I'm actually a peace-loving god, I just want cream puffs. Like, this is a god that is actually, like, preying upon people's insecurities and their mental states, and if they're being disagreeable, has no problems just killing them in a way that it's not, because, like, it's not even Oyashi or Osama that's killing them, it's them. Like, the people are killing themselves.
Yeah.
I like that more, just, well, again, at face value, I like that more because, I like it, again, we're not comparing it to Higurashi yet, but I like it on its own because it was like, the facts are stated, and I can accept, separated from Higurashi, I can accept that. This is a story where there is a god that curses and kills people. At a rapid pace, too, like 5 deaths in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one moves fast.
Yeah, this god is efficient.
Like that. I'm surprised that they could like cover up all that many like murder suicides. Because it's like, hot damn.
Government jobs, right?
And Yoshimura is like, he comes across as like for like the American equivalent I can think of is like a journalist for like the Rolling Stones. Like, for somebody that's going for like a real like hot, sexy kind of story. No disrespect to Rolling Stones. They can pull out some good stuff. But like there is a type. There's a reason that like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas was a Rolling Stones piece, because it's just they're going for the sexy stuff, and this feels very similar to that. I think there's even like a joke at one point where like he takes a picture of them, and then he thinks up the headline that he's gonna write for this. Like,
yeah,
he takes a picture of like the 2 girls and the construction workers, active service high school girls, and a disturbing nature, Ministry of Construction employee, compensated dating in Hinamizawa. I like that. That one was actually kind of it needed better translating just to make that easier to read.
Yes,
but I like what they were going for.
Yeah, it's weird how Yoshimura was a bit slimy, but also before he like was quote unquote evil.
I really like that. Again, without comparing it, just standalone, I really like that he was actually pretty much innocent the whole time.
Yup.
It actually was just like these people are going so crazy. He's not even doing anything. Like when Arakawa has his breakdown, I think it's no, it's Mion's second breakdown. He's literally like, oh my god, I'm gonna die next. He's like on his knees crying. And then when Rika gets far enough away from Mion to where her parent insect queen can't protect her or whatever, that's when he changes and is like, Mion Sonozaki, you will die next.
Yeah, it's the way he was talking, and this is especially because of like just before we like a few days ago we were watching Hot Fuzz together. I just could not stop fucking thinking of my prices are criminal. Catch me later.
My favorite thing, my favorite catch. Oh, it's almost a catchphrase from Yoshimura. That was my favorite thing. It's like, I'm Yoshimura, the freelance writer. and just the way that was translated just made it sound almost threatening. And I'm
you will let me write for you. I do know how to use a pen.
You will die because I am.
And I will call back to see if you're gonna send a check.
Well, wait, you're not gonna send me money on PayPal? All right, we better visit Oyashi Osama. It wants to see you. I'm sorry, that just made that kind of took me out of the moment. And I know it's a translation issue. I know, but
it's very hard to like fully. There were a few times where I had to stop and just be like, okay.
I want to be Random Bystander here, the freelance writer.
Speaking of, and what's this? Yeah, this was directed to Yoshimura. They have the line to I think it was Mion that said it. Because Yoshimura, they call him an old geezer, and Yoshimura is like, I'm not even 28, and they're like, if we round it up, isn't it 30? Fuck.
Damn it! Shut up.
Shut up.
Yeah. Oh my god. What is considered? I mean, okay, old over here is still considered like 50 to 60, but Japan, it's actually like 25.
What the fuck?
It's weird. It's weird.
But the thing is, like, I've been in servers where it's like you have like 16-year-olds calling 20-year-olds old.
I mean, that too. I suppose that's fair.
Yeah.
We skipped Tonagama and Arakawa again.
Yeah. I was gonna say, do you want to talk about them or just like the story as a whole, and then we can actually delve into either the ending or the 150 plus hours we spent reading Higurashi?
Well, there's kind of nothing to really say about Tonagawa, and it doesn't help that he disappeared.
Yeah,
like
he got written out of the story.
Everything I have to say about Tonagawa is like, man, isn't it funny seeing Oishi?
Yeah.
But again, that's nothing with him. Nothing with him. He's in the story until he isn't.
Yeah, it's you. I hate to say it, but you could have probably cut him.
Yeah,
I kind of get it for like story purposes that you're gonna want the like a sort of audience surrogate. It'd be like, what? Yeah. I didn't hear anything about this. What are you talking about? What do you think? What do you mean there's a cover up?
And especially eggs on Arakawa, who's like, no, I don't know anything about this. I don't know. When he was actually like kind of involved in most of them. Indirectly, but like he was there for a lot.
Yeah.
Like there's I can understand it just to have like a different perspective on the construction work. The other thing that was just kind of weird was just like the long segment where they're just telling like damn statistics.
Yeah.
Damn lies and damn statistics. Just forever. Just talking about like, oh, he's gonna do like 50,000 kilowatts, and Rika just kept saying, and
that was boring.
It was taking forever, but
like, I get it. You want to?
It would have been. I think it would have been a lot better if, like, because them telling Rika everything, Rika going and then Mion telling Rika everything, and Rika saying this is why it's bad. You could have definitely combined that together. Have Arakawa and Kanagawa talk about damn statistic. Mion being like, this is what I can use it for personal use. And then Rika being like, nah, that's wrong.
Yeah,
Probably would have made it a bit more, because, I mean, we say things like, oh, Mion is comic relief or whatever, and oh boy, she's very extra, she's unique, but, like, when she's not there, it's kind of like, oh, this is kind of, I don't know if I'd say dry, but not very exciting.
Yeah. Especially just doesn't help with how repetitive Rika gets for so long. I forgot, I didn't get a count for how many times she said, and... It's fucking like, dude, where's my car? And then,
no, and then.
no, and then.
Yeah, we really get like nothing on Rika until she's like, "Why did you talk to me at school?" I was like, "Eh."
Yeah. But
at least Mion, it's like, yeah, her personality traits are I'm excited and gay, but like, I've been there.
But at least Arakawa, there's a little bit more to talk about because he's the one that's witnessed every single one of these.
Yeah.
What?
He's also the field
shit luck.
Speaking of
honestly,
the field shitter.
That had to have been out of everything. Like, I don't want to say the worst, but the weirdest translation out of all of them.
Oh my god. The field shitter and the freelance writer.
Oh yeah,
a freelance writer was funny. Like, I'll keep that one.
Like he goes to a new high school and he's having a good time, and then all of a sudden everybody turns to him. Wait a minute, aren't you the field shit person?
No.
Field shit person.
No,
Oh,
anything
field
but
shit
that.
man. That's what it was. Field shit man.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I would have that as I would. It's so dumb. It comes back around to being like cool.
Like, if that like you sign up for an AOL account and you want it to be edgy, that's what you'd go with.
Field shit man at AOL.com.
That's literally like what like a weird Twitter handle would be now. Just field shit man.
Oh, so one of us should make that account and have the Arakawa icon.
How cute.
Anyway.
But anyways, yeah, he's like extremely traumatized, and it's just rotten luck.
Rotten luck.
Especially the train. Like, how the fuck he's witnessing?
He didn't even do anything. It was literally just like, all right, I'm here, and then,
Wait, no, don't jump in the train. It's not real.
I love the whole thing where the stage goes red and he's just like,
yep.
Yeah.
The whole thing with Yoshimura is like, you want to meet it? And he's like, no, I don't want to meet it. But he meets it anyway.
Well, he changes his mind because it's like, oh, like what it is like what's giving me this headache, which is the bullying. Like I'll confront the people giving me this headache by calling me field shit man. But at that point, you know, obviously it's not the bullies, it's this angry god who's trying to stop the damn project from destroying the village.
You will die, field shit man.
What I thought field shit man was like at the beginning they were saying like if you pollute Hinamizawa you get cursed, and I thought that he took a shit in a field in Hinamizawa.
Oh my god, that's incredible.
and Hanyu is just like, you didn't clean up after yourself.
Ow! I can imagine Hanyu reacting, yeah. He's like, why did I just see this?
Ow!
Why did I just look at this? Alright, well, go back to school. I'll make sure everyone gives you a hard time over that.
Yeah, because you decided to take a shit in the field in front of other students.
You shit in my fields.
Well, no, he thought he was doing it in secret, but somebody saw it. Why are we talking more about this?
Because it's funny. Like one of the few interesting things to say about Arakawa, because outside of like his trauma, there's he's just another victim.
So I guess in that case, did we want to talk about like the story as a whole or move on to the comparisons?
Let's do the story as a whole because it's gonna be quick, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's quick. I like it, but it's not. If I were to compare this, like if it was having like a sandwich, like a meat sandwich, this would be like a turkey, like a cold cut turkey. I really like cold cut turkey, especially if like you heat it up. I think it's really good. But am I going to be like, oh man, there's so much here. Oh, it's going to take me forever. No. I'm going to take a couple bites. I'll be done. But those are some good bites. Those are some good bites.
Yeah. Like I said, like if I had seen this, I would have thought that this was pretty good with a weird ass ending.
Yeah. The ending is where I take my complaint.
Yeah,
it would be okay. So I would enjoy my turkey, but I'd take a bite at the end and like be like, oh, did I leave the bread out overnight? This bread got really hard.
Yep.
Or like you toasted it and like the last bite is the burnt bit.
Oh yeah. That too.
I was gonna say it's like burnt pizza, where it's like it's a bit like it's like the soft part is great, is still good. It's a little burnt, so it's like a little crispy, but it's fine. And then you get to the crust, and it's just in it.
Yeah. Because I'm huge on crust, but if your crust is too crunchy, I can't finish it.
Yeah.
I can't even nibble on it.
And why? How was it too crunchy? Too many characters.
Why are there that many introduced at like you literally could have just done not EDA, maybe one other, and you would have been fine.
The whole bottom. I'm looking at the wiki article. The whole bottom row. Half of the bottom row, it just gets introduced in like the last 20 minutes.
Literally 3 brand new characters that show up at the end of everything. You have Ire, you have Okanogi, and you have Chie. But it's very funny to see Chie in like a villain role.
It's funny, yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I wish she talked about Curry, but alas.
Yeah, but Nita, Oda, and Hotoda. And also, the 2 cops from earlier, they turned out to be in on this whole thing.
Yeah, they're not cops, apparently.
Yeah, so ignoring Oyashi Osama, there's 11 characters in this. Or no, I'm sorry. Ignoring Oyashi Osama, there's 10 characters in this. And realistically, again, not counting Oyashiro, you really only need like 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cut out one of the regular police people and 2 of the people that show up in the final couple minutes, and you'll be fine.
There's a reason Uichi was just one person in.
Yeah.
And not like.
I think the reason that they had that many characters was because they needed a bigger body count for the ending. They needed more people from Beyond to kill.
Yeah. That's like all I got.
All that they ever did was get stabbed.
Yeah.
Can you name anything that Takano or Oda or Hotoda or Okanogi Chie, like any of the like I can't even remember a word from Okanogi or Chie. I don't know if Chie ever had that line of dialogue.
They did.
She had like 1 or 2. I don't know what they are, but she had 1 or 2.
The thing is, if you want to do something like this in theater, what most people do is they have an ensemble and maybe like 1 or 2 people that have lines. They don't name individual characters like this because the names do not matter. They don't.
Exactly, yeah. And this is a very good sign that he's not cut for theater. He's cut for novels.
Fair.
Because honestly, I understand the cops. You can argue that they are important. They should have names. The leader, yeah, maybe give him a name. The last 2 do not need names. They could just be ensemble.
No.
And honestly, they don't even need to be here.
Yeah, and like, okay, if you want a higher body count, then like make an ensemble and make one of them like if you want to do like the Joey Richter thing, have 1 ensemble actor, like, but just like have an ensemble. Which this story, quite frankly, shouldn't have an ensemble. No. So don't have these like 4 or 5 characters you don't need.
Yeah. My only thing is,
it's like it's such a bummer for me to say this because I legitimately like. It's a really interesting story, and if the exposition dump at the end was explained better, then it's like, for a 1-act kind of thing, like, I get into it. I think it's cool. I think it's interesting that, like, there's this parasite that can just kind of destroy the village, but this one person is the antidote, but she's dying. Like, that can be interesting, but I don't like the dump at the end.
That's my main problem is that it's just so sudden. It's just it comes completely out of left field. Like you're in one murder mystery, and then all of a sudden it just completely shifts gears and becomes like a medical horror.
It's almost like it needed a bit more time to develop the story more. Maybe if it was a 2-act play, or perhaps a 7 arc book novel, a book novel series.
Yeah, no, this goes from being a psychological horror to a medical horror to a romance.
This is something that.
No, it starts as a romance.
It's a romance, and then
like it's sappy. It's probably just because it's gay, whatever. But like at the very end, it's like it's cute. I like it.
Technically, the lovers make it out alive.
Yeah, I was happy. I was happy. Okay, no, let's talk about this. It's a lesbian story. Like it's an LGBT story where neither of the lesbians die and they're together in the end.
Oh my god. There's so many stories that don't do that in this day and age. And this happened in the 90s.
Yeah, like the ending is literally we are running away from home so that we can live together and be gay. That's the ending.
You know, there are some plays where I've written where I'm like, great, I know what I'm doing plot-wise. I know what's going on. I know this is going to happen here. I have no idea how the fuck I'm going to end this shit. So my guess is there are so many theories I could think of why the play is what it is. One, you could have been given a cast at the time where it's like, okay, I want you in the play, but I don't know what to do with you. Ooh, ensemble. Oh, you want names? Okay, I'll give you a character a name just to make you feel better. I don't think that's actually the case. I also think it might just be when you first write plays, especially if you're new to it, you want to give every character a name, and Ryukishi seems like the type of person who would give every character a name no matter how small or insignificant they are.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And
I also think that there, like, when he's that early in his, I am assuming that he's written other stuff other than plays before this.
No, he started. Well, I mean, maybe for like casually, but the first time, I don't know. But the first that he was like, okay, I'm actually going to professionally write something, it was the series of stage plays that got rejected, which one of them was, of course, Hinamizawa Bus Stop.
Okay, because what I also think is that, like, when you're in that early stage of writing, you're also going to want to be just kind of, you also want to be kind of, you want to feel cunning and subversive.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, what if I just throw this? And just all of a sudden it becomes a completely different thing? Like, like I remember one of the plays Random took me to was like this Christmas play.
Oh God!
I knew they were gonna say, "Oh God," but it's like, the only reason he took me to this was because he was one of the actors on stage, and they needed somebody to like laugh at some of the jokes, and like the very ending of it, it's like Santa Claus is real, and all the characters are come on stage, and it's like, wait, if Santa Claus is real, then that means this must be a play, and they suddenly can see the audience. It's just like, hey, audience, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? What? And that's Hinamizawa Bus Stop.
Yeah. Okay, I've seen that play. This is definitely better. but also, I see your point.
Yeah, it just seems like being subversive for the sake of being subversive, not so much for.
There's a lot of subversive. Well, I guess we'll finally start getting to this, but Higurashi was pretty subversive too. But because it was much longer and a lot more care went into writing it, and there were drafts, and he had an editor, it definitely came out better.
Yeah,
I love subversive stuff. I'm all about that kind of stuff where like toys around with fiction, especially. And I think a key thing with Higurashi is that it's still tied to characters.
Yes, yeah.
And this ending is not so much.
No,
it's just a curveball.
The ending is like, I mean, like not so much the info dump, but like where the heart of the story goes is Mion and Rika, which okay, but it's, as we've said, it's more story focused than character focused. So it does come off as pretty misguided, and it's just like, hey, look, I'm going to throw you this curveball because I know this cool pitch and you're going to watch me do it.
It also just makes like the gayness of it have like a very sinister angle to it, because it's just like, I guess it's just like a question of like free will in that case, because it doesn't sound like there's much free will here, especially for Rika. like she will die if it's not together.
Well, listen. She's gonna die. She only has 2 years left. She's gonna spend those 2 years doing what she loves, and that's me on. So.
You know what? Hell yeah.
You know what? We stand.
We stand.
Like, I mean, we say all this stuff, but like,
they're not.
We all know how crazy lesbians are, right? This is not that far out of the ballpark.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're not the Bicon of Corlamort, but you know what? They're pretty good.
So you ready to start bringing that 8-book long series of sound novels into the equation?
Yeah, oh God.
Wow. I remember when I read this for the first time, like when I first went through Higurashi, I was like, there is no way that brain parasites were a thing that he had from the start. That was probably something that came up last second. And then I read Bus Stop and I'm like, he had this from the start.
Yep, that in my theory is the only reason it's became a plot point. Because it was...
I mean, here it's like, in Bus Stop, like, their brain like, it's real.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I like it in Bus Stop because that's the direction it was taking, but Higurashi, like, in book 6, it's like, just talk things over, just think rationally, and then they try to mix the brain parasites in, and it's like, oh. But here, it's like, no, you will be cursed, and when it happens, it's like, oh God, this is horrifying. And it's like, interesting. Initially I was like, oh no, it's brain parasites, and then like I kept going. I was like, all right.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of it's like well, actually, I just want to say this because like literally, like yesterday I was talking to a friend about Hinamizawa Bus Stop. This was before I actually started watching it, and I remember saying to them, yeah, I have a feeling that this is gonna be like the early stuff, so there's probably not gonna be any of the weird conspiracy stuff from the books. Little did I fucking know.
Yeah, no, he was when they said we're gonna adapt Bus Stop, they meant it.
If only somebody had a copy of Hinamizawa Bus Stop, they could have blown the whole thing wide open.
Do you want to hear something funny? This was, out of all the research I did, this is the one that made me laugh the most. In 2004, Higurashi 4 was just released. It was of course, Higurashi 4 was just released, so it was getting big. So that's why I had the interview. And people were asking, like, so where did the idea for Higurashi come from? And he's talking about Bus Stop. And he said, yeah, there's not that many copies of Bus Stop around. The only people that have it other than me are the theater troupe that I submitted to, or the theater group that I submitted it to that denied it, so they don't have it anymore, and one of my friends that was editing it. And when I think about the fact that they can just post Bus Stop online, it makes me sick, because the entirety of the story will just be spoiled.
Whoa.
Wow.
And he had, until 8 came out, he had to live with that fear that at any second, the entire mystery could just be spoiled.
You know, you could just not... Right? You could just change it, Ryukichi. It doesn't, just because you wrote it years ago, it doesn't have to be the same. No. Like, I get it. What you thought of was cool in the beginning, you're like, I'm going to tie it all together in my little crazy canon. And I'm like, I get it. You want to satisfy that. I understand, but like, you didn't need brain parasites.
I like that, in Higurashi, it's like, oh, on the night of the festival, for the last 5 years, one person has been mysteriously disappearing and another dying. It's like this super interesting thing. And here it's like, oh yeah, like once a week, somebody dies, they cover it up. It's like, oh, move on.
It was just an accident.
It was an accident, yeah.
I was waiting for... I was waiting for it to be like, it was me, Takuno.
Yeah, no.
I was fully ready for it, for this to be like, no, they're just assassins that like push somebody into the train.
Also, I love, there are some sprite coronations that don't make sense, like Tonagawa as Oichi. Like, what? But
Tonagawa and Arakawa, I feel like should have been Swa.
Yeah. I 100% agree.
That would have been so much more fun too, to have like Oishi. I just like no.
Yeah.
And it's more
I do like
too.
I do like Tomotake's Yoshimura.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it. Well, ignoring the stuff that obviously isn't him. Just replace freelance writer with photographer, and like it can match.
Even when he takes the picture, oh lord.
Yeah. Oh my god, he took the picture. I was like, oh man. I know this isn't Tomotage, but it's like, oh.
Also, it is not coincidental that the sprite of Ire is the main villain.
Yeah. I had learned pretty recently that Ire was originally the villain, so reading this and being like, oh, wasn't Ire supposed to be like the mastermind? Like, this is probably the direction the sound novels would have went if he didn't make Satsuko and be like, wow, she has literally nobody. if he didn't make Satsuko, if he kept Satoshi around, like, this is what we would be reading in Higurashi.
Yep.
Like, this is another, that's a good point. That's like a big, probably one of the main issues with this is that there's the question that actors have all the time: what's my motivation? And that motivation is key to character development and story and plot. And it's for quite a lot of these, it's hard to really give like motivations. Like what's the drive? Like what is Tonogawa? I keep calling about the Tomogawa because
yeah, the only character with really any kind of motivation for which we find out at the end is Rika, was so that she could get rid of the queen inside of her, give it to Mion. But one, we don't find that out till the end, and also, I don't know, like Mion's motivation, I guess, was just to be like friends with Rika.
Friends.
Yeah, I don't know why I said friends. I really don't know why I said friends. I'm thinking of like the start of the story.
History said they were good friends.
I do appreciate at the very end, and especially high school girls in Japan, they're allowed, quote unquote, to be more flirtatious with each other because the country is completely screwed up and it's seen as like practice for the guys, quote unquote. But sleeping on your lap, hugging your shoulder, looking into the other one's eyes with love, that's pretty gay.
I did hear that female friendships in Japan are a lot more intimate than we usually see in Western cultures. That was interesting.
This is still a step above that. Even I don't remember if it was Tonegawa or Arakawa, but one of them is even like, I don't think they're just friends.
Why couldn't Tonegawa and Arakawa be gay?
I was hoping because they were Oishi and Akasaka. I was hoping.
Oh my god.
The only thing that I got, and like, this wasn't gay, this just made like the fangirl in me freak out, was when Rika like punches Mion. And Mion says the line, I was carrying our babies. Oh my god.
Yeah, what the fuck? She had the do you want to be hurt so badly you can't have a child? Fuck.
But then Rika turns around and looks at Tonegawa and Arakawa, and out of fear, they hug each other. I was like,
I would love to.
They hug, they comment on how muscular they are, and then they move in for the...
I would love to have like a Nicholas Danny just gay pairing for Tonegawa and Arakawa.
Yep. Or Uichi and Akasaka.
Arakawa, we have to figure out how to tell her to shut off. That's the thing. I don't know how.
I'll show you how.
Walks up to Rika. Point blank, her fan points too.
Turn off that little melon of yours. Actually, just a parasite in my brain.
It's just one brain, actually. Just one brain, actually.
What's the matter? You got brain freeze? No, I got brain parasite. Get to the station now!
Oh!
That's great.
I love how I'm turning Higurashi into Hot Fuzz.
I'm telling you, we talked about this with Nathan, but it's like, there's just something about the way Ryukishi writes. You take his characters or whatever, and you just make jokes about other things.
Yeah.
It's just how it works.
Here's something we didn't get to mention. It was giving me Colonel Randy flashback. Mion and Yoshimura talking about Mouseland.
Yeah.
You went to Mouseland?
Copyright-free Mouseland.
That's where you first get the signs that this isn't really Yoshimura, it's just Mion falling victim to this curse. But also,
yeah.
Have you ever been to Mouseland?
I think like the way he was telling the story is just like, oh my god, me too, that happened to me too. But like there's some of the details which like you really should have gotten a clue that like, wait, that is way specific.
So the only thing that I will grant, because of a stage direction, while they're talking, Mion's headache gets progressively worse. So at first, when it's super vague, she's just like, "Oh wow, that happened to me too." And then the more specific it gets, the worse her headache gets. So instead of actually like focusing, she's just like, "Yeah, me too, me too." So that one I will grant.
That's cool.
So. What I will not grant, the timer. If there is one other thing that I wanted to talk about and compare before, which I mean we kind of already did, but there's just so much about this specifically. I want to talk about the guardian deity of Hinamizawa, Oyashi Osama, and the curse, and compare that to the brat that we have in Higurashi.
Wow, what a glow down.
Yeah. No, like, again, I prefer the Higurashi way, but, like, this god gets stuff done.
Yeah, and quickly,
like,
too.
Like, Mion, I'm giving you a chance, Mion. If you don't repent, if you're not telling the truth, I'll be able to find out. You will die. She goes to die, it's like, oh, well, bummer. Too bad. Like, that's it.
Or like when you're just talking with Yoshimura, just like, hey, wait a minute, you're gonna write about this? You're gonna die too. I kind of nobody ever says this, but I like to picture this. Rika is still the shrine girl.
Yeah,
she's still very religious. It's nobody ever has talked about it, but I still kind of like that interpretation of this.
It kind of works, especially since she's the one who goes so hard on defending like Hinamizawa from the dam.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, there's no way you could have like fit that, but without just making it like too much of a digression. But it's still kind of it's like I said, there's like a little bit of the Rika we know in this. It's just much more simplified because of a much shorter story.
Yeah, because the novel itself is about an hour 45, 2 hours. But the play itself would have been able to be performed in about 1 hour. So with the limitation of like, this is only 1 hour, there are definitely improvements, and this is definitely a first draft, but given that, I think it's good. It's good.
Yeah, it is.
I really, this is very similar to how I view things like Potter Musical and Dead Right. It's like, obviously, they didn't have a lot of time with this, but there's definitely... For Dead Right and Potter Musical, I would describe it as fun. With Bus Stop, I don't want to say like ambition, but ideas. Ideas that I can see why Ryukishi's brother told him this is what we should adapt.
I can definitely see that too. That with a story like this, there's so much to get into with the town, with these characters, with the brain parasite that was so important to the story.
Yeah.
With Oyashiro, there's just so much for him to like build up into this giant story, and then from there start creating different scenarios, and suddenly you got a time loop. Like, ooh, now I can play around with this. Oh, what's gonna happen here? And it's just kind of exploded from a very simple story about a massive conspiracy.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so with that, final thoughts time. Would you like me? I think I want to go first. I mean, I said most of what I wanted to say like 5 seconds ago, but not so much when I first read it. Well, when I first read it, I was trying to understand it because the translation was so bad. And then the second time I read it to kind of go through everything again with the actual events in my mind. I just went through it kind of like how Random went through it, like seeing it as a play. When I went through it this time, especially because we are so fresh off of the main series, when I read this, I was kind of viewing it as kind of like an answer arc almost, with the question being like, you know, because I know a lot about Higurashi, so it's like, what was here that made it, and how has it changed, and just kind of seeing it in the light of, oh, this is what stayed, this is what left. It was a very interesting. Even seeing some of the more like LGBT stuff with Mion and Rika. It was toned down in the final product, but I definitely, especially when Rika becomes the main character, there's still signs of it with Rika and Satoko, which, I mean, kind of, they're the same age, so that's good. And, I mean, obviously he wasn't allowed to go all out with it just because of the time period and stuff, but yeah, like, every time I go to Hinamizawa bus stop, I always think of, like, the LGBT in Higurashi, like, EDA is fine, and you're not getting anything else that, like, he's definitely, and there are, like, some characters here and there, but it's kind of the mindset that bus stop puts me in. Like, it's this fascinating timepiece that if it got a couple more drafts, it really could have stood out on its own as a play, but because it didn't, it was changed to a novel, and, like, this is the reality we live in. Instead of this interesting one-off that could have potentially caught people's attention, it's this gigantic media franchise. And again, humble beginnings. We talk about Higurashi 1, which is literally something from nothing. This was less. And actually being able to see it in its rawest form, is it great? No. Is it good? Probably not. But am I thrilled that I read it and talked about it? Absolutely. All right, who would like to go next?
I'll go next. I'll let the playwright in the room go last.
All right.
I also thought that this was pretty good. As we've talked about, this has it has some signs of could use a few more drafts. We've talked so much about that ending. That there's a lot of different issues that needed to get like fixed up and tuned just right. But like I said, if I had seen this as a play, I would have thought pretty good. Like it gets its point across, and I also noticed that it seems to be making a much more direct point about these sort of small villages in Japan that get left behind by the government in the name of a dam project or something else, to serve in service of like the cities and stuff. And so you have like these people in the smaller villages that just kind of get screwed over, and that sucks. And this goes very direct with that. And also there's a brain parasite. But all in all, it is good. There's far more to talk about in here than in the last fucking thing we read, whatever it was.
God, yeah.
I already forgot.
God, yeah.
But
the one we read with Nathan.
But I liked it. I as a play, I would actually say good. Especially as far as like one of your first plays goes, good. There's definitely some signs of a pretty smart writer here. It's just we're almost there in terms of characterization, but I can see it.
It's so funny how this was like strong story, weaker characters, and I say it a million times. Higurashi does not have a weak story, but like weaker story and like really strong characters. Very funny how that worked out.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess the all that world building and all that character building made him like shift priorities.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Random, give us your closing.
It's all right. It's pretty good. It's all right. It's fine. Like, it is good as far as like not first draft, but like mid drafts, where it's like not finished, not needs more drafts, but it's better than dead right. But I don't know. It's fine. It's interesting to see the origin of so many things. and how they like started from the very beginning, even the parasites. But it was overall on its own, it's still pretty interesting. It's more guided by the story than the characters, which is a big contrast from Higurashi. But it's still like an entertaining story that will make you like keep guessing what the hell is going on. And it has some cool visuals as well. And the lighting's cool. The dialogue when it's not like poorly translated sounds great.
We're free to start talking about like lighting from a stage play. Like
Yeah.
just words.
But
You're right. You're right.
The images you put in your head of like it's like I can see it. It's good. It does have a lot of problems. Yeah. The ending, the extra characters, the non-use of Tonagawa. It could use another draft, but we're never gonna get it because we got
a completely different story instead.
And you know what? That's okay, because I'm glad this was the catalyst for Higurashi. Because on its own, it's pretty good, and I did enjoy reading it. I kind of want to see this performed, but a better translated version, please. My favorite character, it will always be Yoshimura, the freelance writer. That is all.
And again, just let it be known, it was a guy in his 30s who said, I don't like the direction my life is going. Let's do something with it. Wrote a bunch of plays. Here we are.
Yep.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah,
You're never too old to start working on your dreams.
30s is not old either.
Well, in Japan. Like 25 in Japan is a geezer. 35 is like, you're not underground yet.
So now is the part of the podcast where we do our Star Kid Spotlight. I'll go first. I'm calling Lauren Lopez as Rika. I thought she was phenomenal. It was she really gained it up. I'm very proud of her for it.
I'm like, I have to be the one to say it. I know I always pick Joe Walker, but he kills it as Oyashi Osama. Perfect casting.
You know what? Let's see. I'm gonna say Joey Richter as Ayusuke Okano, Yori Hoshino, Kasumi Hotoda, and Hiroki Oda. Beautiful. How he just did all four of them at once.
Yeah.
Swishing those mustaches around.
For those of you who don't know Star Kid Spotlight, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. We're a little cracking up, and like the two people that are both Star Kid and Higurashi fans are like, everyone else is like,
just go watch the Trail to Oregon episode. You'll get it.
If we want to repeat a Firebringer, let's just have Lauren as Rika and Meredith as Mion.
I was thinking that too.
That's true. And Rika's like, yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah.
Oyashiro Sama being like, my fucking head's on fire.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Yashiro's Lord.
Who would be the freelance writer? I'm trying to think. Like,
oh well, freelance writer is a funny one-liner, right? Can we make a Jim Pavolo in that case?
I'm Yoshimura, the freelance writer. Yeah, we can make that happen.
Just a tall one. Never trust the tall ones.
Yeah.
Meredith as Mion is having her breakdown, and Jim Pavolo as Yoshimura is like, this is all your fault, Mion.
Again, if you'd watched the podcast, Star Kid, this is great. This is gold.
Yeah, like my two favorite things coming together.
Who would be like Arakawa and Tonegawa though? Who would be poor Tonegawa? Does nothing.
That would be Darren Quish.
Oh no!
The thing is, he would pick that role because that's all he has time for. He's talented enough. We just don't have enough time to put him to get him in the performance. So that's why he leaves in the second act. That's leaves at the end. He went off to do GLEE.
It's too bad. It's too bad that there wasn't like a villager that was opposing the dam project, because then he could have said, "Haven't you read the sign? No, damn."
Arakawa. Who would that be? It's like I want to say I'm trying to go through all the cast of like.
I mean,
I can kind of picture like what's his name, Brian something.
Yeah, Brian Holden. I was gonna say Brian Holden.
Brian Holden. Wait, question: who would Jeff Blim be? Jeff Blim would be the villain.
No, actually, like if like Jeff Blim did
Jeff
like
Blim is
Ire,
Yoshimura.
like if he like really hammed it up for Ire, I'd be on board with the ending again.
Just Jeff Blim with a bunch of Joey Richters.
Oh my god!
No, actually, now I think of it, like the whole like what the fuck ending with Ire, it really is. I am torn. I am torn.
So I want Jim Pavolo as Yoshimura, but like if we could get Jeff Blim as Aladdin during that reveal in Twisted as Yoshimura, oh my god.
Actually, yeah, he'd be killer as Yoshimura.
Yeah, but then it's like, who's Jim Pavolo then? I don't want to. But I guess he's super good as an extra.
he could easily be one of the cops. He could easily be
like that first cop, the Kasai cop.
Yeah,
that could be
it
Jim
could
Pavolo.
also be Orishiro-sama as well. I mean,
no, it's got to be Joe Walker.
Okay.
So with that great
Arakawa is freaking out. All right, you can meet it. Whoa, a floating diary. Oh shit.
I'm glad you figured that one out, because I was like, how do I do that? How do I run that in?
Go watch Star Kid Spotlight.
Go watch Star Kid Spotlight. It's been a while, but Star Kid Spotlight was a blast. I have fun. I miss it sometimes.
Yeah, it was a good time. But with that.
But yeah, speaking of things that were good times and things that I'm gonna miss, well, remember when we wrapped up Cinema-san and I was like, oh, it's over so soon. This is kind of like the reverse of that, because we've been doing When They Podcast for a while. We've been devoting a lot of time to this, and as fun of a ride as it has been, all good rides must either come to an end or get killed so that you can go in a time loop. For now, at least, that's pretty much all she wrote for When They Podcast. The only thing that we have left is a finale where we pretty much just like talk about Higurashi as a whole, what our thoughts on the collective story are, and then to make things pretty interesting, I'm not expecting Random and Wash to reread the entirety of Higurashi so soon, but they still have a very strong impression of the characters. As we said so many times, Higurashi, the best thing about it are its characters, or is its characters, whatever. So what we will be doing is that every single character that has a sprite, plus Oreo, Mion's grandma, we will be ranking from bottom to top, which should be very, very interesting. I don't know what I know what my list is going to be, but I don't know about yours. Should be a good time. For Higurashi fans out there, you might be thinking, ooh, Rare, Tomita, and Okamura, the horny boys. And it's like, there you go. There's your answer. And yeah, I'm super looking forward to doing that. But until then, other than, a certain village that we might want to plug so that Oyashi or Osama doesn't make any more construction people claw at their throat, I think we're good. Watch.
Yeah.
All right. If you liked what you listened to, then you can go follow us on Twitter at WRK Podcast. We'll let you know when the next episode comes out, which will be the finale. And you can subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/WRK Podcast. Just And again, like we've only been getting these like this late into the podcast, but we really appreciate all the comments we've been getting so far.
Yeah,
from
for When They
Higurashi.
Podcast, some of these comments have been very good. I'm really liking reading
Yeah,
these.
very
I
well
very much
informed.
appreciate all of you who are leaving comments and not spoiling things for people who are interested in reading it on their own. You guys are the best.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that means a lot. You could have at least spoiled the brain parasite thing, so I would have had some. I would have known that one ahead of time. But also, if you like to listen to us in audio form, then you can go to wrk.simplecast.com and wherever else you may get your podcast. With that, I've been the Wash, as played by Jim Pavolo.
I'm random bystander here, the playwright.
And I am lesbians. Damn it, I said lesbians.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Wait, so where's the bus stop?
Because of the rain.